0. 5. Hello and welcome back to Toulouse. This is Tomo and we're live in the southwest of France for our final session today here at the conference that is, well, over the last few hours it really got very interesting. Now, just to say, tomorrow we've got some seminars on marketing. We've also got a workshop where the delegates will be allowed to ask any questions they'd like to of any of the people who've been on stage. Now, that could be quite interesting. It could be quite fiery. And a lot of people are saying, come on, we want a solution to this. We want a suggestion to that. Will we get it in our final session today? Well, later on tonight, we'll be going to a cocktail reception at Galeries Lafayette. This is the big shop here, as you know, the shops all over France. And they have a very big shop. I call them the Harrods of France. And we'll be going to Galeries Lafayette because they've got a special offer. If anybody buys anything at Galeries Lafayette, it doesn't matter how small or how much, that these people, if they come to the races on Sunday with us, will be drawing 5 lucky couples who will be coming to Abu Dhabi as our guests for the final of the Sheikh Mansour, Sheikh Fatima Global Racing Challenge. So much to look forward to at the races over the weekend. But our final session tonight, well, normally it's ladies first, especially in Emirates, where it's first-class service all the way. But now it's ladies last, I suppose, because the question is this: women in racing, what are your thoughts? We're now going to discuss women in the world of horse racing. And a lady who's going to look after it, and by the way, her panelists are absolutely outstanding. And we've got some real top-notches here today, as, by the way, His Excellency the Ambassador arrives and takes his seat in the front row. And you've got a front row seat wherever you are around the world. I'm going to hand over to one of our distinguished racing journalists, and she's absolutely top-notcher who writes very well. She used to live in Paris. She's now married. She now lives in England, but she travels the world. I'm going to hand this microphone over and give her a big round of applause. Liz Price. Good luck. Enjoy. Okay.
Thank you, Tomo. Ladies and gentlemen, mesdames, messieurs, I'm very honored to host this session entitled Women in Racing. I have to say, when I was on the plane coming to Toulouse, I was thinking, why do we actually still need a session called Women in Racing? But then as I was waiting for my luggage with a certain trainer whose name I won't mention here, who has some newborn twins, and when I asked him, so do you spend your evening changing nappies? And he went, nappies? What is that? Not in my life. And so I thought that, yes, there has to be a session of Women in Racing. Now, I'm joined by a very distinguished panel here, and we will proceed as we did before. I will ask each of our panelists to introduce herself, and I shall start with Harriet Rochester. Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hello, I'm Harriet Rochester from the UK. I have a sports marketing company which has a predominant focus within horse racing and equestrian sport. And the clients that I work with range from very grassroots of the sport, so trainers, owners, breeders, to governance level. And another reason, really why I'm here today, is via a group that I'm a member on the committee, which is Women in Racing. It's a UK group founded by Sally Rowley-Williams, who's a big owner in the UK. And the focus behind the group and its objectives and goals is to create opportunities for women in the sport. And this really ranges from a physical level for jockeys, trainers, to getting more ladies into executive positions and directorial positions within the sport. So that's my main reason for being here. But I have a broad experience within horse racing. I ride a lot myself. I've ridden in 2 races, and but also a lot of my clients are involved at the governance level end of horse racing.
Well, I'm sure it's very interesting, and we'll hear from you throughout the session. I would like to go on to Jackie. Jackie Wickham, who's from South Africa originally, but tell us where you live now and what you do there.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name's Jackie. I've lived in the United Arab Emirates for 23 years now. I was born in South Africa, and in about 1986, I went to work for Mr. Bill Smith as a groom. And a couple of years after I started working for him, he went to a sale at Los Alamitos in California. And that was really the start of the Maktoums becoming involved in Arab racing. And I was a lot younger and thinner and fitter. and I rode quite a few Arab winners, and then I got an opportunity to go to the UAE as an exercise rider, and I got my trainer's license in 1996.
Well, I'm sure you've gained a lot of experience having worked in both countries, and we're eager to hear from you in a little while. I have to say I'm particularly excited about Her Excellency Lula Al-Wadi, who I spoke to yesterday, and who is, I might tell you, the first female lawyer in Bahrain. I would like to hear from you more about you, because I'm sure that's just a teeny tiny bit of your very interesting life that you lead in Bahrain.
Thank you very much. My name is Lula Al-Awadi. I'm from Kingdom of Bahrain. I work as a lawyer since 1976. Now I am a member of Shura Council. You know, in our parliament, the parliament is from two chambers, one of election and the other one is appointment. I work in the women field to development for 9 years as a former minister. And now I attend this conference to share and to hear from you how we encourage women in everywhere, especially Arab women, to enter this field, the racing sport, and how we are encouraging them to enable, to increase. After we noticed from yesterday's session and today this morning, how many challenges they are facing, even female and male, in the racing itself, as owner, breeder, and training, and jockey.
Well, we're all very eager to hear more about that. I now go on, and I feel a little bit embarrassed because this is a person who doesn't need to be introduced, but because this is shown live all over the world, and we're hoping to attract some new people who might not have heard of, even that seems unlikely. Lara Sawaya, would you please introduce yourself?
Thank you. First of all, before I introduce myself, I want to say thank you for all ambassadors, UAE ambassadors to you, that are here with us. We have our UAE ambassador, old ambassador to Germany, His Excellency Mohammed Al Mahmoud, our UAE ambassador to Belgium, Sulaiman Al Mazroui, our UAE ambassador to Poland, Asam Mirza, our UAE ambassador to UK, Abdulrahman Al Mtawai, وأكيد our UAE ambassador to Portugal, Sa'ar Al Raisi. I would like also to say thank you for Matal Yabhouni. He's very short in timing. He had to go to endurance racing, and eventually he's the chairman of the committee of racing in Abu Dhabi, horse racing in Abu Dhabi, and he is a member of the board of Abu Dhabi Sports Council. Of course, IFAR chairman Sami Al-Bouanen and Adnan Sultan Al-Nuaimi, general manager of Abu Dhabi Equestrian Club. All of you here. I'm Lara Sawaya, director of Sheikh Mansour Festival.
Thank you very much,
Thank
Lara. Let's go on. Next to the left of Lara, we've got a lady from the UK, Jenny Haynes. Could you introduce yourself, please?
Good afternoon. My name's Jenny Haynes from the UK. I'm one of the directors of the Arabian Racing Organisation, and I'm also an executive board member for IFAR. I was born and bred into the thoroughbred industry, firstly. I hadn't got much chance of not being horsey because my father was a farrier, so there was going to be a pretty good chance I would go down that route. So this is my third conference now. I thoroughly enjoy it, and came into the Arabian side only in 2000, but I certainly wouldn't go back to the thoroughbreds now.
Thank you very much, Jenny. And to her left, we have a lady from Belgium, Nelly Philippot, who I discovered studied physics, which absolutely threw me. So, Nelly, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thanks. Yes, indeed, I'm educated as a physicist, but I turned to breeding, which was much more interesting. And being a breeder, I was firstly involved with showing, where I became a judge, ECAHO judge, and judged on 5 continents. And next, I was involved in endurance racing when I'm an international endurance rider up to the highest level. And finally, I was involved in racing. And so I think I covered the 3 aspects of the Arab. He should be beautiful, speedy, and have stamina. So I think this is a quite complete view. Yes. And for racing, as racing is concerned, I'm since over 20 years president of the Belgian Racing Club, and I was involved in the startup of IFAR and even before that.
Right, thank you very much. And then, last but not least, we have Mrs. Salah Al Ghouria. I don't know if I pronounce your name correctly,
Yes.
who is here from the UAE, and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good evening to everybody. My name is Salah Al Ghouria. I am a trainer, flat race trainer, but also an endurance trainer. My husband is a breeder. He encouraged me to get a license for flat race to take care of his horses, which is very nice, of course, because we breed the horses and we train them ourselves, which is more comfortable to us. But I studied architectural engineer, and I changed myself in a certain time to be a trainer, which is very nice because, of course, I'm still having a company, and I attend meetings from time to time, but for me it's boring. I am more into horses.
Well, this is what unites us all here, the passion. But what I think is very interesting in today's panel, we obviously have very much the West meeting the Middle East. And as we heard in the panel earlier on, which I found quite humbling, was when we had the young jockey from Oman who was telling us that she actually only got into racing because her primary sport, which was sprinting athletics, she couldn't actually pursue that. Now, we've heard in the meantime, we had a chance to discuss a few things, and you told me, and you yourself are educated, you've gone to university and everything, yes. And yet then we've got the opposite in Bahrain, you know, the first female lawyer. So tell us, one of you, may I commence with Her Excellency, how is the situation progressing? What can we do to get women more involved?
To be honest with you, we need a lot of work to do to make the women more as a number in the racing, especially in our area, Middle East and GCC countries, because as you know, or everybody know, it is a new field. For me, my information about racing is limitation. But when I share with Miss Lara about racing, I get some information. But when I listened yesterday and today, everyone in this field are facing too much challenge, as everybody yesterday mentioned and today. So we need a lot. We need to support this woman. When I research the strategies which established in the Arab country, I never found any article or any subject regarding the sport. The sport is forgotten from the strategies. So we need to support women, not by talking. We need by act. How it is act to be to support women in these fields, in the new fields in our countries. When as I mentioned to you, I was on research, the strategies, I don't find any subject regarding the sport or regarding the racing. But when I look back to the initiative of Sheikha Fatma bint Mubarak, it's when established academy for the sport, it make a different. It transferred the Emirates women from one side to another side. So we need support in acting, in initiative, in everything to get women to enter this field and to increase the numbers. Even in the West, I found there is many challenge facing by anybody as owner, as a trainee, as a breeder, as jockey. So what's about the woman in this field? So we need not only by women, as Selma in this morning, she said that she teach herself by herself, I think, and she mentioned that first she don't find any, or she don't face any challenge. But after the end of her speech, she mentioned about the challenge which she faced in her field. So we need some official support from our countries, يعني like the initiative of Sheikha Fatima bint Mubarak as Academy supporting the women in the sport.
Thank you very much. That's very interesting. I want to turn my attention to Salah because you mentioned that your husband was very supportive and he allowed you to go or pushed you into racing?
Yeah, he encouraged me, actually. He encouraged me because he was looking at me when I'm taking care of my endurance horses. And he said, I don't think somebody can take care of my horses. I want to give it to you. So try to get a license from the Emirates Racing Authority, which they supported me also. The idea of first woman to take a license was, they liked the idea, so they gave me the books to study, and I sit for the exams.
When you say they liked the idea, who liked the idea?
Dubai Racing Authority.
They supported you?
Yes. They supported me, they gave me the books, and I was studying the subject for like a year or more, and I was going to Maidan, you know, because to get the full idea, it wasn't easy, you know, and it's different than endurance. I've been going to watch race in Maidan, in Abu Dhabi, until I sit for my exam. In the beginning, it was boring for me because I didn't get it until I get my first race. Then my blood boiled, you know.
Yes.
And then I understand, you know, it's racing. It's only 1 minute, and you go, you know. So my first year was learning. My second year, although I got 2 winners, I'm still learning in the racing, you know. I like to do everything in the stable. Yani I don't mind anything because I love horses. I take care of them. I talk to them. They get spoiled by me, and you know, but they have to do their job. And sometimes they do stupid things when I am around, like kids, and I love it.
But now that you are a trainer, obviously we were talking earlier on, you know, you also need owners to have horses with you.
Yes.
So how do you find you are accepted by other owners?
Maybe I didn't think of it as a business, you know. I didn't think like this. I didn't go around looking for owners because I have enough horses. So sometimes it comes from relatives, from friends. I don't mind, you know, and I am always looking at it as a challenge,
yes.
You know. Even if I take from somebody, I will be like worried, you know, because one more horse means one more, and there's more load on me. So I didn't go and search for horses, and the horses are coming by itself. So my first year was 8 horses, and my second year was 17 horses.
Well, you're obviously very successful. That's a lot of people would envy you for that. Nelly, if I may turn my attention to you, when we were talking, you were saying that you know, horses, they give the opportunity that men and women can compete equally. But it just seems still that while women are accepted in endurance, are accepted in show jumping and everything, in racing there's still that little bit missing.
I think equestrianism in general is one of the sports where men and women can be equal. So it's a good thing, a good sport for us, because that's where we can be as brilliant as men are. Still, I think maybe the reason why racing is girls are eventually more reluctant is the danger. It's after all quite, as you say, it's a 1 minute stuff, and everything 100% goes in 1 minute. So I don't know why, but in Europe and in Belgium, girls and boys race together since whenever, and And actually, someone this morning mentioned that in the apprentice school there was more girls entered than boys. So there is definitely a will from the girls to go for it. But maybe after a couple of years they are more realistic about danger and they say, this is something we should be careful with.
Jackie, you've been in the UAE. Now, you're a trainer. How do you feel? Are you accepted? How do you find owners? How does it work for you?
Well, I'm a private trainer, so I don't have to go and look for owners. But I must say, maybe I won't be invited to the next conference, but I'm not sure about saying women in racing. And I know it's tough for our Arab friends here, but I mean, I've lived in the UAE for 23 years, and I have a fantastic life. I have many friends there, and I mean, I don't find any discrimination. You have to work hard and be honest and do all the right things, but...
Well,
sorry.
To a certain extent, this is why I was thinking when I was coming over, you know, do we need this women in racing? You know, I mean, we've had women trainers who have won the Arc in Paris. We've had women jockeys who have won Group 1 races. So I think there is, the evolution of women is tremendous. And yet, as I said, listening to the conversation early on in the session, it is still humbling if you see that a girl who wanted to practice a sport couldn't because there was no female team. So I understand, I think we also need to make the difference within the UAE because, you know, as you said, it might be a different case in Abu Dhabi and Dubai, but then you go to a country, to Bahrain, which is not very far, and it is harder for women, you know.
It is, as a Bahraini woman, we don't have anything to forbidden anything for the woman. There is no ceiling for women. But still, for the racing, we don't have even one jockey. For the other sport or other horsing riding is okay, but for racing, we don't have any. I'm surprised we get from United Arab Emirates, from Sultanate Oman, but in our Bahrain, while we are, the education, the civilization started before the other GCC country, but still in this field, we're not, I don't find any even girls to accept to enter this field. We are not talking about discrimination between men and women. We are talking how we are encourage the women, especially Arab women, to enter this field. I look through the internet, through the books, I don't find any research to show us how many, the number of women in Arabic world, how many owners, how many breeders, how many jockey, how many trainers in the Arab world. We need these studies and we need the support from media, from the national organization which are established to take care about women, to at least take first step to encourage women in this field.
Well, I think if there's one woman here who can tell us how that's done, it has to be Lara, because, you know, until a few years ago, Abu Dhabi racing women, we were aware of it. When I say we, I'm talking mainly, you know, the broader public in the European countries. Now, it's everywhere. It's racing Abu Dhabi. Lara, so you know what it takes. So tell us what it takes, what other countries can do.
First of all, we are very grateful to Her Highness Sheikha Fatma bint Mubarak, the mother of the UAE, the mother of the world. She has supported us a lot in order to support all these ladies. She has put the base ground well in order for them to fly in the world and to go and race in all racetracks in the world. Of course, my boss, His Highness Sheikh Mansour bin Zayed, has given us all his support too. And today we have a base ground very solid because they are following us, they are supporting us. And today we are here, 300 people from all over the world in the World Arabian Horse Racing Conference to talk, to see each other. This is an annual event that the Festival of Sheikh Mansour has presented to the world. And it's all because of one man, His Highness Sheikh Mansour bin Zayed Al Nahyan. He is the one who has been giving us all the support and lead and pushing us to look forward, to make better results, see where are our faults, what do the people need? The need of the countries. Now we have here 40 countries in this conference. This is huge. It's not something small. You're talking about a country which is a development, like we're going from one country to another. This base is very important. If you have a solid base, you have everything. So the solid base is there because the support is there. His Highness supports, Her Highness Sheikha Fatma bint Mubarak, the mother of the world, support. Today she has opened 12 races for girls to ride. Tomorrow you will see 16 girls riding in the race. This is really something when before you didn't have. Even in the world, in Europe or the world, they don't have it. That's the most expensive race in the world and most supportive race in the world. So they have to follow their heart. They have to follow their vision, and they need to support each other. These countries all over the world have to link together. You don't need countries to say, well, I have a condition, the other one saying, I have another condition. Today, there's no conditions. There is one heart, is horse racing. It's either you want to do it right or don't do it.
Thank you. If I could, talking about support, Jenny, if I could address you. Obviously, you run a very important organization in England. The support that you've got in the last few years coming through the festival, through Lara, through the girls, how have the English other authorities, how have they reacted? Do you feel that they want to jump onto the bandwagon and help you more, or do you still have to battle very much?
No, okay, to start with, yes, we're very different in the UK because we are still an amateur sport, and compared to the other countries in Arabian racing. So the media platform that His Highness Sheikh Mansour has directed and given us, and also Her Highness Sheikha Fatima, it has brought a different level to our sport. And with Lara's support, yes, it has brought us to a certain level now. However, the bandwagon is the wrong terminology to use.
No, but
because it's the way forward. Kathy Smoke said something in the Breeders about the generation, the young generation. We're at the end of our careers. The future is what everyone's trying to achieve, and I think through His Highness and Her Highness Sheikha Fatima, I think that's the way forward. As I say, we are very different in the UK because of our amateur status. You know, a trainer can have one horse, train it himself, he can ride it himself, and the girls are coming through that. So it's a great initiative, and it has in the last 3 years put us into a different perspective.
Right, because I was just wondering, we just had a race at Newbury, and yeah. Which happened on a very big day because there was also a Group 1 race for thoroughbreds. So I was just wondering if other people who now discover purebred Arabian racing, who've never seen it before, who maybe only come that one day to the races, and they see this new sport, they see the girls. Do you have other people who actually come up to you and say, oh, what is this all about, or can we join, or what can we do to attract more people that they feel that they can also participate? Because one of the things we were talking about early on in the very first session about the lady riders was that, you know, how do you actually learn? How can you join? How can you, you know, a very pertinent point was made by one of the riders that you have to have a trainer who supports you. Otherwise, you can't learn. So have people approached you, or what do you think we can do to get more people involved?
As much as I don't like social media, that's obviously the way forward. We have had people that come up to us, and we have obviously our own website, etc., an introduction. We also we also hold 10 purebred Arabian days, which is a total of 67 races just for purebred Arabians throughout the year. So we have people coming that have never been Arabian racing before because it's racing. And they want to see what it's about. They then learn, and they talk to, we have a very small membership group, so they can talk to our trainers and our owners and actually get a feel for what racing's about. We have a lot of, you know, jockeys that have gone on to go professional from that. We've also had trainers that have gone professional, and even my staff have gone to the British Horse Racing Authority. So we're very proud of it in that respect. But so it's a we did need a little help, and we've got a lot of help now. So yes, we're very.
But so it's a very good way of getting into racing, of discovering racing, and obviously meeting fabulous people like all you.
We set up different schemes. We do set up different schemes to help people. If they've never been racing, we can go into the wearing room and show them, because we take it for granted. All the racing people take everything for granted. This is what happens. But so we tend to look after them when they come to the races.
Because Harriet, coming to you, you work for an organisation, Women in Racing. How has Purebred Arabian Racing? What impact does that have on you or on your organisation? Has it grown? Have you been able to combine the two?
Yes, I mean, at the moment, I think there is an absolutely sort of amazing opportunity for both thoroughbred horse racing and Arabian horse racing to sort of really cross-promote. Obviously, with the Sheikh Fatima bin Mubarak World Series, that's just an outstanding opportunity. It's made me want to take my amateur licence out if I could, you know, get to compete on such a global scale. And I think, you know, the fact that thoroughbred and Arabian horse racing sort of do combine the fixtures, you can talk to a much larger audience to encourage new people into the sport. Going back to Jackie's point, from my experiences within the UK, there's women in sport, women in horse racing. We have Hayley Turner, we have Amy Ryan, who's just won the Apprentice Championships, and Lucy Alexander on a crest of a wave. But if you scratch the surface, or when you read in the British media, it's often men that are in director roles and very few women. But if you scratch the surface of our sport, the real operators, you know, I work with some supremely talented women, and I feel that Lara really has sort of set a precedent in trying to promote women into board level, director to level. And I think if we can get more women at that level, hopefully we can then also encourage them and support them at the grassroots of the sport on a global scale.
Right, well actually, you know, as the discussion is progressing, everyone has sort of mentioned, you know, that maybe women in racing, as Jackie said, you know, we have actually accomplished a lot of things already, you know, and I think that also needs to be mentioned. We always sort of say, oh, you know, women in racing and it's hard and everything, but there's a lot of accomplishment that has been achieved over the years. And Lara, certainly you have turned this event into a global event. What I want to know from you now is, where do you think we are going? I mean, where are women in racing going? What is happening?
Well, everybody asks me the question.
Yeah, I'm asking you officially.
What do you think after 5 years, where are we going? I think what we achieved until today is still, we're still at the beginning, because you always have to look forward. And the future always is beautiful, because whenever you have competition, you have an idea, you want a goal. The goal is so important to put ahead of you. Just when you accomplish it, just put it behind you and go for another goal. And this is what makes women really fantastic, because they like to challenge. And it's a great challenge between having this series in the world, because it holds a big name to our heart, is our mother, Her Highness Sheikha Fatima bint Mubarak. Because this series enlightens countries now, for example, like Hungary. Hungary was a sleeping partner in Figentry. And when we approached and said, well, maybe a Hungarian girl, we asked Susanna, maybe a Hungarian girl can participate. Last year she said, no, maybe afterwards. And then this year she said, what do you think of a Hungarian girl? And yes, the Hungarian girl now participated 1 year every year there's achievements of more countries involved. And this is when you put a goal. A goal is to achieve the world. You have 72 countries. We are only here on 23 countries. So we have a lot to do.
Right. Okay, so the other countries better watch out. Lara is going to arrive there. And,
yes, especially in Portugal. Now we have a new goal. His Excellency is here, and thanks to him, we had a very big meeting in Portugal with the Ministry of Defense and Ministry of Foreign Affairs and Ministry of Agriculture. And yes, His Highness Sheikh Mansour Festival has a big plan in Portugal in the next year. This is something you don't know about.
Well, Lara is always good for...
And Portugal does not have pageantry girls, Susanna, so wait and see them racing next year with all the girls, and maybe they will start to have a pageantry group by next year.
Right, some political messages are getting passed across here.
Yes.
No, that's great news, because one of the things about racing or horses in general, I've always found that wherever you go in the world, if you are passionate about horses, you will find other people who are passionate about horses, and you will always be welcome. Because one of the things, obviously, that the girls are experiencing is that they can now have friends all over the world, and if they wanted to further their education or learn a different language, they could go and visit these girls, which is great. I went to France and learned how to ride racehorses and learned French at the same time. It wasn't always the University of French it was meant to be, but so I think it's a great opportunity. But Jackie, coming back to you, how do you employ girls in your stable?
No, I don't. But you know, I've been thinking for a while, and I'm sure it's something Lara would like, is I think it's a real pity when you think how strong our racing is in the Emirates that we don't have an apprentice school. And you know, am I in more trouble?
Can I answer you?
Yeah.
Okay, you have to take things step by step. First of all, we have Abu Dhabi is the capital of the world for women in racing. That's IFAR statement last year, and yes, Abu Dhabi is the capital of the world. Second of all, you have all the girls going to Abu Dhabi by end of this 12 series. Means you have 150 or 160 lady. You will see them all on November 10 in Abu Dhabi Equestrian Club, holding the flag of their countries, on one flag, the UAE flag. The thing is that the school, apprentice school, is something new we started last year only. And this year, we can say, and we're very proud of, that we have a very big conference in Abu Dhabi from the 7th to the 9th. And this is the first in the world, is Her Highness Sheikha Fatma bint Mubarak EARS, which is the European Association for Racing School, Training and Education Conference. You have to take the step by step. You have to make a conference. This is a unique conference in the world. This is the full support of Sheikh Mansour, the mother of UAE support, the mother of the world, and then we take the lead to open another march. Because as you saw last year, the apprentice school, most of the jockeys were men. You didn't have one girl. All the boys were apprentice jockeys. So we do not want to limitate this between girls and boys, and this is why we have one race on November 10, which holds the mother of the UAE name, Her Highness Sheikha Fatma bint Mubarak EARS Apprentice race, and that's it. So this race is a big race. It's a very important race. We have 14 jockeys from the world, and yes, it's from the important schools. We have 6 schools in EARS, which is the European Association Racing Schools, which is Italy, Germany, UK have 2, Northern England and Newmarket. And then you have France, who has a Chantilly school, and you have Germany. So eventually, when you see all these countries together, and with all the rest of the world, you will see them in Abu Dhabi, like Singapore, Hong Kong, Japan, all these countries that never raced on Arabian racing, you will see them in Abu Dhabi for a first unique time racing on Arabian horses. So we take things step by step, and yes, in the future, one day we'll have apprentice school. But we can say one thing, that His Highness Sheikh Mansour Festival has arranged the base ground for any UAE national or expatriate that wants to learn to be apprentice. We have to go to the schools. We have agreements with these 6 schools in the world, and maybe others when we have this big conference, and they can go and share and study for 2 weeks and 10 days, and it's all under one name, Festival of Sheikh Mansour.
Thank you, Lara. Salah, may I ask you, you said that when you were talking about schools, when you were studying, you know, you thought in the beginning it was a bit boring, and then you got involved. Do you have any female friends, girlfriends that you say you should become a trainer, or do you encourage other women?
Yeah, I do. I do encourage my friends who's trainers in endurance to get into racing, but to them, you know, it's not interesting, because endurance is another life, you know. It's different than racing. It's different because here's more rules. People, they don't want to go into rules and you know, studying, because it's easy to get a license of endurance. If you have 3 horses, you're a trainer. But in racing, no. You have to sit for exam. You have to do lots of studying, lots of practical training to saddle the horse and put the racing saddle, and because this is all under responsibility of a trainer, you know. So it's different. It's not too much interesting for them, but with me, there is an assistant trainer who is a guy. It's not a girl. He's a local boy, and he is with me from a year now. He was a head lad, and next year he will be an assistant trainer who is learning from me, which is not a girl.
Yes, yes. Well, I mean, we won't be able to change any of the rules or anything. If you want to become a trainer, you will have to work hard. That's just as it is. we can't help that. But Nelly, you talk a little bit about your experience, because you've also become a trainer and a breeder and everything. How did you find it boring, or did it?
In fact, when I entered as a president of the club, I thought I should know something about racing, so, because I was out of the world. So I followed the course for a trainer. So I am normally acknowledged as a trainer, but I never practiced in racing. I had one of my horses, but sent to a professional trainer, to our bred trainer. But that's all.
But how do you get people interested in Belgium to join women, to join the trainer ranks?
In Belgium, it's not so much that you look specially for women or men to join. You just look for new participants. But I can tell my experience about the Middle East. When I first came to, can't remember if it was Emirates first or Qatar first, but the Middle East, it was 88. I have been a week, and I didn't see one woman. Not on the races, not when discussing racing, not when delivering the horses, not on the planes. Never saw a woman. I didn't even know there were any. I suppose there were. But when you see the difference now, now we are really coming to normal. There is as many girls as men here, and that's really pleasing for me, and especially because we have some very dynamic ladies in the field now, like Lara, and of course the obvious sponsoring of Sheikha Fatima. So it's a world of difference in 20 years. So I think we should really congratulate those who are behind it to make it all possible.
Yes, absolutely.
Especially for these countries. I mean, in our countries, it's not such a point. If you're a man or a woman, if you're good, like someone of the trainer said this morning, if you're good, you will be recognized. But in these countries, it's very different, of course.
Yes. Well, it's interesting because I was asked to put a question forward and for this panel, and I'm desperately now trying to change my mind, because really the question is, do we actually still need this session on women, or are we that strong?
I think you always need this session on women, because even women integrates in men's life. When you have something, really there should be a strong combination, strong bond for women in any panel in a conference. If you do not highlight the woman role, it can be equally spread like the men's word. You have to highlight something, otherwise, why should we know, okay, you are a good journalist, صح? And you work for Paris Turf, and you are an international journalist. But today, you are on a panel of women. Now, if they don't know you, they knew you. Because when you highlight the issue of having a women's bond, is good because you're always supporting one another. There's always things that needs to be supported, which women knows between each other, and cannot be just saying to the men, okay, we need help. No, we can help each other, we can have the support, but this woman's bond is very important in any conference in the world or in anything you do, because it makes you stronger and you feel more confident about yourself in order to improve as a journalist or anything in the world.
Well, thank you very much, because actually you've just led me right to the question that I will ask at the end of the session. And that is, should women have their own organizations in racing? Should we have a support? And should we not just say, okay, we rely on the trainers? Salah was telling me that she got a lot of help from a trainer in Dubai. You know, maybe we should form our own groups, our own support groups. Your Excellency, what do you, or Harriet, if you want to...
From speaking from my experiences in Women in Racing, we hold regular events, and the people that attend, I've seen tangible benefits from their attendance. Women and men are always welcome to come as well, and the topics we tend to talk about are either very career-focusing, and there was a point made earlier on by the panel that, you know, we need to be encouraging new people into the sport, young people into the sport. So I think it's very important to sort of provide these groups can provide these opportunities to give an educational focus and also networking opportunities. I mean, you know, personally, I've done business via my membership to Women in Racing. So I feel just as a sort of tangible benefit for people, for anybody, men and women, to be involved in such groups are very beneficial.
Right. Your Excellency, what do you think in Bahrain? Would it be possible to mount a support group of other women? What is your view on that?
It is not only in Bahrain. And as circumstance, as we mentioned here, as Ms. Lara said, even if women are willing to enter this field, she needs support. What kind of support? How it can be? It must be, we put a plan to start, discuss the challenge faced women, because it is, if we said that women and men are equality, we are not fair with the women. Otherwise, I will go further more. There is international convention about discrimination about women. Women in everywhere. As Ms. Lara mentioned, any conference, it must be session about women. Otherwise, we are not fair about women if we said, let's depend on yourself and go ahead. No. We still, in our country, or around the world, even the Western country, they need, the women there, we need some help, some direction to the woman, how to enter this field. And Bahrain, I think, when I joined Ms. Lara activities, every girl in Bahrain, they come and ask me. They are willing to enter this field, but they ask how, who will support. Ms. Lara mentioned that it is costly. I hope our country, I hope Bahrain, my country, Bahrain, to follow the Sheikh Fatima initiative and Sheikh Mansour bin Zayed to include women in this in the conference. Bahrain, they are holding racing, but it's only for men. I hope after 1 year, after 2 years, they follow the UAE initiative, and I thank a lot of thanks to Sheikh Fatima bint Mubarak, which support the Emirates women and support women everywhere. Without her, we are not able to attend this conference. We're not able to share with different people from different countries and share with them the challenge in this field. I hope, inshallah, that we next year we found a jockey from Bahrain sharing Miss Lara conference and festival.
I want to say something on Her Excellency word. Today, we are very lucky. Not because we have the full support only of His Highness Sheikh Mansour and Her Highness Sheikh Fatma bin Mubarak. We are also lucky because we are supported very well today in this panel, and thanks to their excellencies, they all came to us today and they supported us. They have lots of work. They came here for a reason, to support the conference, to support Her Highness Sheikh Fatma bint Mubarak, Ladies World Championship, IFAR. This is so important. And it's not something small when she's talking, Her Excellency, about Bahrain. We had a chat, I had a chat with Sheikh Nasser Al-Hamad bin Hamad Al-Khalifa, and we saw him in 160 kilometers Compiègne, the Nations Cup of France, because as you know, Sheikh Mansour Festival is entering very strongly in endurance racing also. So we are sponsoring, yes, we have sponsors the Nation Cup, and we are sponsoring the World Championship for young riders also. We are main sponsors of the World Championship. And we had a chat, I had a chat with him, and we asked him when we will have a young lady. And what I can say to Her Excellency, maybe there's a surprise for you in Bahrain very soon. Next year, inshallah, His Highness Sheikh Mansour Festival will be having a race in Bahrain for ladies.
Woo. Fabulous news.
Yes.
I just was going to say, Lara always loves her surprises, and she does always surprise.
I wanted to surprise her just because I know how enthusiastic she is to support us, and for her as a Bahraini woman, and she is also Arab woman and a UAE woman. She's been supporting us for the past few races, and yes, I can say also a great thanks to Dr. Wadouda Boudran, who was supposed to be on that panel today, and she's not here. She's member of the Women Council, Arab Women Council of the Arabs, isn't it? Yes, a women organization, Arab women organization, and because of the visa, she couldn't attend. This is, you see how important things are to integrate things together, because women can make things work easier too.
I'm not going to disagree.
Look to our beautiful 4 Emirates girls. They make the panels beautiful. Our 2 promotion girls, they're doing a very good job, Amy and Layla. And I think if you see at these 4 beautiful Emirates girls, they're all here, there for all the sessions. This is how dynamic women are.
Yes, I do agree. Nelly, you wanted to say something.
I was just thinking about your question of how can we attract more girls. I think one vector is very important, is the horse in our sport. And I think it was mentioned by the trainers this morning that the female approach to horses is very important for the Arab horse, and the Arab horse in particular is very sensitive to this female approach. And I think this is an argument we should eventually play. Like, girls come to Arab racing rather than thoroughbred racing because this horse needs you.
Yes, and I think you're absolutely right, because one of the things I was thinking when I was preparing the session is that we talk about women who have succeeded as jockeys, we talk about women who have succeeded as breeders, but actually I want to, draw the attention to getting women also as owners, because the nice thing about the purebred Arabian is it is such a lovely thing to own the horse and also be able to ride it and to train it. And I was very lucky because I met a young lady who participated in the Newbury Day, and she uses her purebred Arabian She works in a thoroughbred stable, but she has her own purebred Arabian that she keeps in another yard. And once she has finished her work, she then goes on and trains that and rides it. And she says she has learned so much more through the purebred Arabian that she would not learn with a thoroughbred, because it is very difficult to become a thoroughbred trainer or owner. Much more expensive, and I do think that there's something to explore there. Lara, you were nodding?
Yes, I think pure Arabians are very humble horses. It's our heritage. It's a very beautiful horse. And the most important thing, it endures too much. And this horse is capable of, it's not only for flat racing, it endures 160 kilometers, very easy. And eventually, all the horses of endurance mostly come from the Arabian horses, from the flat racing. Some, if you want to win and achieve in endurance, you go for flat racing. See, we know, like, for example, there's a horse, Falal al-Samawi, at Tirak al-Samawi. It's a German horse, and it was one bomb of a Wathbastad Farm Cup winner for maybe 4 races at a row. And he was sold out to endurance for 60,000 euro. And this is how it goes. You look for flat racing, big, important horses, and you see the open eye from the endurance world on them, because yes, they endure, they can support, and they can bear the heat.
Well, maybe then, may I make a suggestion, you know, when we have another purebred Arabian race or something, maybe as a special prize or something for the winner, we should offer that, you know, maybe we can offer that person to have a horse or something instead of a prize. And, you know, in that case, support the breeding, support the trainers.
I will tell you one thing. What we did in Abu Dhabi actually this year, and Adnan is here. We did one thing in endurance, is that for the Sheikha Fatma bint Mansour bin Zayed Al Nahyan, the daughter of His Highness Sheikh Mansour, we gave the ponies. And yes, we gave 3 ponies, and we gave 5 riding school at Abu Dhabi Equestrian Club. This is how we give it to small girls between 6 to 9 years old. And this was a scoop for Abu Dhabi this year, that nobody has done it before, just to think of this small generation, how to build their mind and make them own their own horse when they are very small kids, and to be more passionate about it. So if it starts with a pony, why not with a horse?
Yes, absolutely. Your Excellency, I think you wanted to say something.
I want to add some suggestion to follow up the resolution of this conference. I suggest if there is any link between the women as owner and the breeder and training and jockey with the Arab women in same fields, to share with them the challenge, to get experience directly from them, any link, through committee, through website. There is, in everywhere, there is a link to share anything, if they're facing challenge, if they're facing any problem, they share experience to encourage the woman, the Arab woman, especially in this field.
Yes. Thank you. I think that is something we're definitely all going to work towards too, because some of the things that I enjoy being involved here is meeting all the different cultures. I think it's very interesting to see where the women come from, what has attracted them to the racing, and how they've developed their careers. I think we actually have, I get the impression, I don't know if the audience has the same impression, but that we actually have a very satisfied panel here. We don't have anyone who is saying, you know, we need more respect, or we need, there's been nothing like that. All the women, you're shaking your head, you're very happy in your position.
Thanks God. To me, I had the full support from His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum. He supported me with a full stable. I get horses, free horses from time to time. And if I need anything, I can ask the trainers of His Highness, and Sometimes I train in their stable if I don't have, if I have a problem, or I only ask and I will find what I want, you know.
Fabulous. Can I move to your country?
And thanks also for Sheikh Fatima and Sheikh Mansour, which they are supporting us with all the full season of races and prizes, you know. And I think that is enough. We have no complaint.
Jenny, you were also...
I was also going.
Yes.
Lara mentioned it earlier. I can speak for myself. You have goals, and you want to achieve, and there's nothing wrong in asking for help if that is going to be your goal. And I think we're all like that. There is a saying, a jockey saying that you're only as good as your last win, and I think that's exactly right. You move on. There's so much more out there that you can bring to the table, and I think we all do that.
Good. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you have seen a very positive panel, I think, here today. I would like to open the floor to any questions, if you have any. And we will go back to the question that I mentioned, although I think that's superfluous now. Should women have their own organizations in racing? Obviously, no, we don't need them. Or yes, we need the support. So if you could please vote, but if you wanted to ask some questions, none? No questions to the panel. I cannot believe it. You have 2, 4, 6, 7 amazing women sitting up here, and not one of you has a question for the panel. Yeah, ladies, I think you're scaring. You're definitely scared. You're scaring the audience. Well, Harriet, in that case, Harriet has a quote that she would like to say.
It's come from Sally Rowley-Williams, our chair of Women in Racing. I think it's a very poignant quote from Madeleine Albright, who was the first Secretary of State of the US. And she says, I think it's important, and it also touches on Her Excellency and Lara's point earlier, I think it's important for women to support each other. And there is a special place for her, there is a special place for those who don't. And I think that's a very poignant
Absolutely.
quote.
Absolutely, I think. Oh, we have a question. Fabulous. Would you please stand up? Thank you.
My name is Khalid. This morning I heard that the ladies or the jockey ladies blaming the owner and the trainer that they don't give them the chance to ride. I think to solve this problem, I am suggesting that we have a race in our calendar every week or every 2 weeks, only for ladies. And this will encourage even ladies from overseas, from the Middle East, to come over, because our race is in the weekend, and they can ride that race. And in this way, it's not anymore up to the owner or up to the trainer. No, there is a race, and it should be must. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
I have an answer for you, Khalid. Last year, we had a race in Abu Dhabi. And in Abu Dhabi Equestrian Club, we had Her Highness Sheikha Fatma bint Mubarak Ladies World Championship. We were little short in horses, and we asked why. So we are here to support, but we need more of you, UAE owners and trainers, to put horses, to have confidence in the ladies, even if they are, maybe they have one win. Okay? This does not, one hand does not clap, it needs 2 hands to clap.
But before we take the next question, I think Nelly would like to add something.
Picking on what Khaled says is that Lara, that you were running short of horses. I felt some reluctancy in Europe for the races because of the draw of the girls to match the horses. And I was wondering if a solution that would give more confidence to the trainers and the owners wouldn't be just by ranking the weight of the horses, ranking the weight of the ladies, and just fitting it like that. So every horse would only carry 1 or 2 kilos out of its weight, and not a 48-kilo girl riding a 63-kilo horse. Because some trainers feel like we don't know what's going to happen. Also, then the trainer would know further in advance which one among 2 girls he will have to introduce to his horse, and it would give them more time to prepare.
Yes, and I think there's one thing we need to think of, is that some trainers, I want to thank Khalid for he had confidence in the girls, and he had one horse there, and he won. His horse won, and thanks to you, but not to other owners who maybe sometimes are reluctant of putting horses for the girls. And I will say one thing which I'm very happy to say it, that we had an incident one day with one of our trainers, which I will not mention, and he said, sorry, I cannot run this girl, make her train, because a UAE girl to train, because you know, this is horses for different owners, and they wouldn't like you know, a fresh girl to start riding on their horses. This is why my message to Khalid or to owners is that we have to start thinking widely how to support the girls. And I know how important that small breeders maybe have 2 or 3 or 4 horses. They don't have more, but they can be better thinking in the positive way for the ladies, to support them in a way, just for the trainers to be more active and support more ladies, because effectively he is right. It doesn't come all the time from the owner, it is sometimes from the trainers.
Thank you, Lara.
Yeah.
I think we have another question.
Not a question, as much as I would like to say thanks very much, Khalid, for your offer to support those races. As you know, we do everything we can in Abu Dhabi through the auspices of Her Highness Sheikh Fatima bint Mubarak Al Nahyan, the mother of our country and the mother of the world. And thanks to Laura's unending help, we managed to get things done. I'd like to answer Nelly's question regarding our ladies' races. I do frame the races and the weights, and I always make sure that every girl, I do know most of them personally, but I get all details, and I do adjust the weights of the horse so that every girl will not carry overweight. And it won't offend the owner or the trainer that if she is a little bit heavy, we make the top weight 60.5. And I adjust mostly, I've seen countries, they put on handicaps. Now, I think that's a mistake, personally. It's up to the countries. This is why we had an earlier conversation about globalization of organizations. Weight for age was mentioned. And I'm sure a lot of people don't quite understand weight for age and what it means and where it can be used, etc. Now, if I make a condition race, I don't use weight for age. Only I usually try and have 4-year-olds and upwards. I make the conditions. The horses winners of 1, winners of 2, or hasn't even won, give them allowance. I also take into consideration the fillies allowance. Now, as Khalid said, he'd be very willing to put in horses. Not only Khalid and private owners, but I know their highnesses are only too willing to help in any way like this, you know. Okay, they're not going to run their Group 1 horses in ladies' races initially when ladies are only just beginning to learn. We need, as you mentioned, an organization, a global organization, or an organization, women's organization, whereas if any particular girl, lady, in the United Arab Emirates, or from outside the United Arab Emirates, is interested in becoming a jockey, I mean, there could be 1,000 aspirants to be jockeys, but I promise you maybe only 10 might get through to be jockeys, even how much and how hard they try. I know. I've been through the game for the last 60 years I've been in it, and I've seen bright-eyed apprentices coming in, and oh, I can ride and I can do it. It soon wears off, I promise you. And Jenny, you know this as well, through being through where we've been, you know. And I think we need, Laura and the panel, an organization, a company, a group, a club, whereas if somebody's interested, they can come and they can be pointed in the right direction. Inshallah.
Thank you, Pat. I think maybe that could be another subject to be raised tomorrow morning in the workshop, or there will be plenty of other opportunities. We have another question. Could you please stand up and, sorry, so that we can see you.
It's okay. Tracy Nunley from the United States, but going back to the jockey panel, in the United States, we have top women breeders, we have top women owners, we have top women trainers. We're all very progressive, moving like Laura here. But in the United States, the jockeys, and we have 2 of the best jockeys, is Rosie Napravnik, who is riding the Belmont on Saturday, and Rosemary Holmeister, who is top rider in Chicago. But Rosie Napravnik, she rides under the name A.R. Napravnik, because she is scared of the public. She's been on 60 Minutes on TV about being a woman rider. And that is our biggest problem all around, because we can be women trainers, we can be women owners and breeders in the United States, but the problem is trying to convince these owners and trainers to ride these girl riders. They are strong, they are tough, and 90% of our grooms in our barn in America are women because they get along with the horses much better. No offense, guys, but much better communicating with the horses. But we need to figure out how we can get these jockeys, and that's my question. Because we have the best in the country in the United States, Rosie Napravnik, and she will not ride her name, Rosie Napravnik. She rides under A.R. Napravnik, and that's a problem. So how do we fix that?
First of all, maybe I can answer you, Tracy. We have a race of Her Highness Sheikha Fatma bint Mubarak Ladies World Championship in Texas. And we had a US amateur girl. And it was great because we have a full field of 12, and they all were great. And it was a big race in Texas. For the first time, we are also very proud to say that in California, where's Sam Vasquez? I don't know if he's here. And Denise, you are here. Yes, everyone is here. California legislated the first race of women, and it is Her Highness Sheikha Fatma bint Mubarak Ladies World Championship IFA in California next month on 13th of July. It is legislated, and the government has approved the law, and the girls are running, and this is where you start building up these ladies to have more faith in themselves, not to be scared of anything, because the audience will love them, and they will wait for the girl to ride.
We have these little girls that want to become jockeys, and we need to show them it's okay.
They are all going to be there, and you will be in California. We'll make sure that you'll be in California to see that race.
Well, I think, Phil, we come to you in a second. I think it is very sad when a woman can't,
Yes.
say her name. I have to admit, I'm a bit surprised at it. I think that in general, women who are in racing, you need to have a thick skin. I personally remember, and Tomo might remember, when I entered the first British press room and introduced myself, and I was met by a wall of silence, and I was not even addressed because I was a woman, and there were no women writers at that time. And but we have moved on, so I'm surprised to hear that, and I'm sorry for the lady that she feels that she can't say her name, and I really hope that she will certainly get all of our support, to mention her name. I think
I think maybe we should invite this jockey. What do you think, Kathy? We will invite her to the UAE and to California, and let her, maybe she can be the professional jockey to ride in the final of the World Championship.
Well, I think that's a great offer. Thank you very much. Thank you, Lara. Phil, could you stand up and thank you.
Yes, Philip Brannan, Sports Guide again. I do have a question, but first of all, can I just address Tracy? Because I'd like to say that we've got Rosie Napravnik coming to ride in the UK in a UAE-backed International Jockeys Championship, the Dubai Duty Free Shergar Cup, which is coming in August. And I can assure you, it's regarded as a real PR coup to get Rosie Napravnik over to she's Rosie to us. I can promise you it's regarded as a real PR coup to get Rosie Napravnik to come and ride in the UK, and we're thrilled with that. My question is for Jenny Haynes, and it goes back to women in racing and employment. Jenny, you're a lady that occupies a high position in the sport. Women in racing has been formed since your elevation to success to produce opportunities for women to emulate people like you. When you're employing, do you find that you're having applications as an employer from as many girls as boys wanting to come into work in the industry?
Without a doubt, I would say it's probably 80% of women
to get into the racing, whether it's an office environment that we deal with or whether it is from being a jockey. Yes, I would say 80%. It's we have very few men actually apply for the position for the office position within the racing environment. So yes, it's women orientated.
Right. Are there any further questions?
Just, I have a question to, I think it's to Lara, but anybody can answer it. I could see, Lara, you are, you know, in like UAE is ahead of everybody else and in investing and encouraging women in horse racing, and we have to admit there was a lot of achievements. But what I see very little coming from neighboring countries who have more or less same resources or probably more money. Very few from Qatar, we have Sami here. Probably from Oman, but like Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and even other countries, Iraq. What are you doing to bring more of these people? Because there are some countries, of course, they have no resources. I know the West are doing very well. As an industry, it's so big, it has a lot of money in, you know, US, Australia, Europe. But these Arab countries, they are not really, the awareness is not there. But we know, for example, in Saudi Arabia, there are a lot of races, and it's really very rich in terms as a country and in terms of a horse breeding or racing. So we'd like to hear a little bit if you have any good experience trying to attract these guys.
We have very big contact with Saudi Arabia, and Prince Walid bin Talal, the kingdom, has endurance girls, and they are training 2 girls now for flat racing. You will see them next year. They will come at the final in Abu Dhabi, and you will see the Saudi girl participating, because it is something new for them when they started to see evolution of girls racing in Arabian racing, in flat racing. This is where we had lots of phone calls, but we cannot just accept a girl only to go on the horse and maybe she scratch or it's not good for us or for her. To just go on a horse and ride. She should be well trained, and she should start in a solid base in order for us to say, like, okay, you can have a ride in our race, because it's our responsibility if something happens to the girl. So we have a Saudi girl. There are 2 girls, and you will see them shortly. One of them, you will see her in November 10. She is always riding in flat racing, but in her own yard. And she is an endurance rider. She always comes to Abu Dhabi. She rides in Abu Dhabi. And she wants to start from somewhere, and yes, it will start in Abu Dhabi. As for the Bahraini girl, they are, you know, it's something when you start growing it up. Like Morocco, we didn't have any Moroccan girl. We are racing in Morocco, but now they are planning, they started on pushing the girls to participate in their own rides, in their small rides, to train more so that they can take part in Sheikha Fatima bint Mubarak Ladies World Championship. You know, one word to another in countries like this, we are having all the neighbors getting an open eye on us, and they want to send the girls to ride.
Well, I
hope I answered the question. شوية.
Yeah, you would like to add to that, yeah.
Just from a UK perspective, Sarah Oliver, of the Chief Executive of the Amateur Jockeys Association, has founded a women's-only fixture. So the entire card is dedicated to female riders, amateur and professional. Quite often the case, the amateurs are beating the pros as well. So it's a very good advert for both codes. And that's at Carlisle in August. So there is a lot of support in the UK for the women jockeys. There's also now a women's table, which is sponsored by ProLinks as well. So there is support out there for the female jockeys.
But I think actually Lara made a very valid point in the sense that the one difficulty we have with our sport is that you cannot just like a tennis, you can't just pick up a racket and hit a ball. We are dealing with animals that are worth millions. We are dealing with live animals that not always react the way we want them to, that need a lot of care. So you can't just take anyone and say, okay, I will ride in this race or I will do that.
And I can say one thing, sorry, on Pat Buckley knows about the situation. Our UAE girl, she is ready. She's a good girl. She's already training, but we cannot just put her in the race and let her go. She still needs to train, and yes, she will ride in Abu Dhabi. She will be trained enough by that time to be racing in Abu Dhabi, because we cannot just push her, give her a license, and something happens to her. So we have to make sure that she's okay. She's green-lighted. Pat Buckley gives the okay, and we go. She has her license. But yes, she will be ready for that time because she has enough time to train. And it's a responsibility on us to just let any girl okay, because they are racing. It's not endurance race, it's flat racing. And it's horses that are really owned by others.
Exactly, and I think that's why also the neighboring countries, you know, as you mentioned, if we're talking about Saudi Arabia or any of those, it needs a whole support system to start racing. You can't just say, I want to have a girl and she's going to race. You need the staff to be educated to look after the horses. You need a huge support system in racing, which is not the case in other sports, and it needs to be set up. I think we've got another question.
Deirdre Hyde, UAE, and it's a question really towards Jenny, because I know you had an idea in UK, which I thought was quite a good one, to help bring a cross-fertilization between endurance and racing, and was those long-distance races. And I thought maybe there's something that would help ladies get into, give them a taste of racing. Perhaps you'd like to make a comment.
Thank you. We ran a race, it was over 3 miles, 3.5 miles, and it was to encourage the endurance people to step into our world, people that hadn't done it before. We probably in our first instance didn't, sort of the conditions weren't correct. It's something we will look at for a possible series in future, because as I say, we run on full Arabian cards, so I think it is a possibility to do a series because I know there is some interest for it. With regard to the endurance coming, but again, it's education. You know, you're trying to bring them into our sport and let them enjoy it, to see that, you know, they can also have an endurance horse and it can race as well. So it is something that we found. We had, I think it was about 6 runners in it. It was well supported, but it didn't really target the people that we wanted it to in that first instance. And we have to now find a sponsor to run that again. And also we have to look at the tracks that we run at, because they're not all suitable for that distance. So it depends really on where we go with the tracks. But I think it will encourage other people to come into the sport, and especially the younger generation, which is what we're looking forward to going.
Thank you, Jenny. I think we have one more question. Thank you.
Yes, hello, Matt Skenberg, Sweden. Scandinavia, more than 50% of the professional jockeys are women. And in the Arab races, some of them actually are all female races, even if it's not in the conditions, more or less. I was thinking of one thing, just an idea. We have a very large, as you know, Lara, a very large Middle Eastern population, especially in Malmö and Stockholm, where we also have the Sheikha Fatma race. We also have an integration problem, especially with many young women who are immigrants from the Middle Eastern countries. And I was thinking, because more and more the horse is used as a way to create an assimilation between people of different cultures. And I was thinking with all these women from all over the world, and also the women traveling with the Sheikha Fatma circuit, so to speak, female ambassadors and so on, being, I think, extremely positive role models for young women in this environment in our country, it would be perhaps an idea to do something to try to invite a group of young women from Middle Eastern origins to come and see how, so to speak, their sisters from the Middle East and so on are using the horse and horse racing as a way to build their own self-esteem and so on. To invite, maybe invite a group of young women, with that kind of background. It's just an idea.
Yeah, but you know, Matt, there is one thing. We always come to Stockholm when we have Her Highness Sheikha Fatma Mubarak Ladies World Championship, IFAR. We always come with a big group, and the big group maybe half of us are women.
Exactly. So it would be fantastic.
We are always getting new people, you know, every time, even thanks to Her Excellency Noor Al Suwaidi, the chairman of the UAE Women's Sports, and she is the general manager of General Women's Union. She's been very supportive, Her Excellency, and always you have new ladies coming to the races of Her Highness Sheikh Fatima.
Matt, I think any suggestions maybe we can work on in the workshop tomorrow morning.
Yeah, maybe.
You know, any good ideas are very welcome tomorrow morning. If I may just draw your attention before we finish our session on the question, which I think of all the sessions, all the questions we've asked, has actually provided the most divided answer. So
I think he has a question.
Can
Erwan Sharpi from UAE. I'm a trainer of thoroughbred as well as Arabian horses. It's been well proved that Arabian racing has been a very, very good groundwork for young jockeys. So maybe it would be an idea to try to work with some of the apprentice school where there is, I know for France, a lot of girls who are majoritarily, the apprentices are a lot of girls. Maybe we could try to organize a synergy between this apprentice school and a lot of in Arabian racing to be a ground for developing new talent and as well get a lot of new people to be brought to Arabian racing instead of going straight into thoroughbred racing.
I'm sure this is the thing what you will see in November 10 when you will see the 200 guests of apprentice in the world coming to Abu Dhabi, the capital of the world of women racing, and maybe the capital of the world of apprentice racing, because we will have around maybe 100 jockey, maybe 30 of them are apprentices from all over the world. And what we said is that the race in Abu Dhabi is people who never raced Arabians will race Arabians like Singapore, Japan, Hong Kong, Korea. These countries, they never have the chance to ride on an Arabian horse, and they will be in Abu Dhabi. And there are lots of things that we are going to do in November. So let's wait till November, and then you will all get surprised with what achievements we can do from the Her Highness Sheikh Fatima bint Mubarak Years Apprentice Training and Education Conference that will take place at Eastern Mangroves Hotel in Abu Dhabi.
Thank you. I'm really sorry I'm getting whispers into my ear. I get signs from over there. Our session is coming to an end, and I've been told to end it now. But before I do, I will just come back to this question that we asked earlier on, because I do think it is interesting. Should women have their own organizations in racing? 47% yes and 53% no, so that's very divided compared to any of the other questions asked earlier on. Ladies and gentlemen, as I said, unfortunately, we have to wrap up this session. We've got a workshop tomorrow morning. Please come with your suggestions. They can be discussed. Members of the panel will be there. And may I ask you to put your hands together for our very distinguished, lovely panel. Thank you very much.